You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Buckle up as anything goes and having fun is the only rule we have. Now here's your host, Nick Apostolopoulos.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Nicksology, brought to you by 619 Vodka. Of course, you can always reach us on Facebook at facebook.com/Nicksology and Nicksology.com. We have a great show coming up for you today. Later on in the show, we have Jesse Arroyo, world-famed San Diego photographer, coming on so I can bitch at him about the Chargers Stadium stuff. It's just driving me crazy with that. Everyone I know who's a Charger fan is like, oh, they're staying. I'm like, they seem gone to me, but I don't know. Jesse will set us straight on that. And then later on, we have Jared Farver coming up with his great bourbon and beer-infused pickles. So we're going to talk about that later. But right now, first up, we have in the studio here, DJ Mancat. If you don't know DJ Mancat, and you live in San Diego, I feel sorry for you because he's everywhere doing everything. DJ in the fair, doing other events, working with the Belly Up, casting director I see on your bio here. What haven't you done, man?
I haven't danced for money yet, so...
Oh, well, we might figure that out by the end of this show.
Bucket list, man. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, cool. And his buddy Mark Hodges is here, who works at Holiday Wine Cellar, which we love because they carry 619 Vodka. Oh, yeah. So that's good. And I just found out they actually do tastings there now, so we're going to have to get that scheduled for our North County peeps. I got a bunch of people up there who love it, but yeah, that's the first place I've seen that allows us to do wet tastings. So, so that'll be cool.
That'll be real fun.
Yeah, awesome. So... I want to get right to it because we were in the green room and I had never heard this before. But among DJ Mancat's among his many vocations in life is he's occasionally an Uber driver.
That's right. Yeah, I decided to do Uber driving. I lost a good friend of mine to a drunk driver a while ago, and I started working with Uber with bars around the county. And when I was working with the bars, I'm like, all right, let's get Uber in here. It's an easy way for people under 30 or around that age to get taxis home.
Right. And I love it, especially being with 619 and everything. For one, I don't have to pay for parking and deal with all that stuff, right? And then, yeah, just the whole drinking and driving thing.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Yeah.
They have an app for that now too. You can get someone to park your car.
Oh, really?
They got an app for everything, man.
Dude, segue. You know what they have an app for, and I'm working on getting the guy on the show? There's an app now that will deliver booze to you.
I saw that.
It's called Saucy or something like that, and I'm trying to get them on the show. They'll deliver booze to you.
That is saucy.
It's absolutely crazy. No, totally. So anyway, Uber.
Yeah, so I decided to partner up with Uber and with the bars around town so people can get home safe. I think the average was like DUIs went down 30% for people under 34 in San Diego last year.
Really? That's an awesome stat. Yeah, that's really cool.
We can't act like that's not Uber involved, and I know that from the people that I'm driving because they're usually people who are wasted, and they're like, I would never, take a taxi. So it's a nice way to, instead of doing a $20 taxi, you can do a $6.
Not to do a whole Uber ad too, because I use Lyft, and there are other ones out there. But the whole thing for me with the taxis is they're behind the times, man. Because the biggest problem I used to have, just being downtown, I live in North Park. It's not that far, but it's 2 a.m. You leave the bar and try and get a taxi. Just try and get one.
Yeah.
If you call, they never show up. Try and wave one down. They're all full of people. The great part about the Uber and Lyft technology is they're, you know your driver. They know you. They're coming to pick you up. Mm-hmm. And so it's way easier to do. Not that there's an excuse for driving drunk, but it's way easier to do when you've got that app at your fingertips.
People certainly make excuses.
Well, no, sure. And I'm not going to say I've never done that before either. Knock on wood. But yeah, it's great. So all right. So your story. So you were. I kind of came into the middle of this. So, so you picked girls up from downtown to take to PB?
Yeah, I was in Encinitas, and they were going to PB. So somewhere in La Jolla, they got a call that someone kissed their boyfriend's friend. So it turned into an Uber ride home to like hell no, let's go kick this girl's butt, So they tell me repeatedly for the next 5 minutes I need to speed up, because we have to go to a fight. So, they were spending time coordinating who will hit who first, because, little Mackie already has a rep around town for being crazy, so her counterpart Amy was going to hit first, and then Mackie could jump in later.
So wait, they're having a whole conversation. They're planning out the fight in advance.
Yes.
Who's going to hit who and how they're going to do it. And
yeah.
Now, do you know, did they know this girl at all, or was it just some random...
I feel like they did know her,
okay.
yeah.
So they were extra pissed that she kissed somebody's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're about to get to the destination, and they jump out, and the funny thing is they wanted me to speed up while we're going down Garnett, and anyone in San Diego knows
you can't do that.
It's like
this is the point of taking an Uber.
Yeah, it's like the Paperboy game, and there's break dancers and crazy cat ladies. It's exactly like Paperboy, actually. So we get to the destination, and they jump out of the car.
For those of you under 30, that was a killer game back in the 80s. A killer video game. Paperboy, it was one of the best for sure. All right, so sorry, go ahead.
So they jump out of the car and they run up the house. I turn my Uber back on so I could pick up the next customer, but I kind of wanted to sit there and watch the fight. But I instantly get a new rider, and I notice a pickup is at the same house that I just unleashed these drunken cat fight to. I also notice the name is the same of the girl that's about to get into the fight. So
Nicole. So you're trying to...
Yeah, so I call her immediately, and, to tell her I'm outside, and I think maybe I should tell her to sneak out the back or give her some sort of warning that this crazy is about to come to her. After one ring I get, hold on, I'll be right out. And true horror movie fashion, I say, Rachel, get out of the house.
Out of the house.
My eyes are as big as possible. I'm like, get out of the house. These girls are coming to beat you up. And from what I heard, Rachel kissed Dan, and Dan has a girlfriend. So if everyone's keeping along at home,
I got the little... I'm writing a matrix right here.
That girlfriend happens to have some very angry friends that pre-plan their fights. So lucky for me, this all spills out outside in plain view. Dan's trying to mediate, and yelling and pushing starts. Rachel tells them she needs to cancel her Uber. So she comes outside, and as crazy as it sounds, this whole fight's going on, and everyone just stops because she's like, I need to go cancel my Uber. So they all stop and start tweeting or whatever, and she comes out.
Sorry, I slid away for a second. Who canceled their Uber? Nicole?
No, the girl wanted wanted to cancel it,
Okay, gotcha.
So I give her a nod and just tell her I'm going to shut my Uber off so I could watch the fight, I feel like,
I remember there being a Lunchable involved. Is that coming up?
Okay. I feel really invested in the fight now, So I kill my lights, and I pull a snack, and I turn down my radio so I could concentrate on the fight, But before I could finish my Lunchable, the fight moved out of my view, and I no longer had box seats to PB's finest. So the only punch thrown was the one to Dan, who was the boyfriend that supposedly cheated. He storms off with his buddy, and the girls go in a hidden spot. So I finish eating my Lunchable by myself, and I start up my Uber again. I sync up with Dan, who's walking with his friend, and they're all talking about the fight, and his other buddies going on about this jacuzzi, which he was really excited about. So I sped up. I felt kind of sad because I got quite fond of Dan, Amy, Rachel, and little Mackie, but I knew it would end eventually, and so I got a ping and went to go get the ride, and immediately it canceled. So I restarted up, and who did I pick up? The two gentlemen still reeling from this fight. So they get in the car, and they're like, "It was just a kiss on the cheek, man," and they're going on about how they weren't guilty of the fight and all that. So just a heads up, if you're doing an Uber ride in PB, just make sure you bring snacks.
So are you still doing Uber?
I do it every once in a while.
Yeah.
I was doing it a lot in January and February when I first started, and then I like to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. So
right,
I've got, with the DJing and spring coming up, it kind of kills my schedule for Uber, but every time someone hits me up for a ride and I'm available, I'll go get them.
Sweet, awesome,
yeah,
dude, that's just the craziest story. So now, how long had you been doing Uber when that happened?
No, not long. It was a week into it.
So your thing is, this is how every Uber ride goes, right?
Yeah, and
especially in PB.
Starting to talk to other Uber drivers, they all have their crazy stories too.
Right. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so when you're not doing Uber... Oh, so that's what I was going to ask you, too. DJ Mancat, where'd that come from?
My mom's half tabby. So,
oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
very sensitive subject.
So yeah, because I was gonna say you're half cat.
Yeah,
Right.
I got the
Right.
name from a friend of mine who we would just go out at night and cause trouble, and he's like, "You're like a cat, man." He's like, "You're like a man cat," and I'm like, "All right." He's an artist too. His name's Ali Garza. He draws for like Marvel, DC. He does Supergirl, all these really cool comic books. So of course he drew me as a man cat, and then I got the artwork, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is nice. I like this name."
That's
so
awesome, dude.
when I had to pick a DJ name, I'm like, "All right, I'm going to be playing other people's music for a living. This is probably the silliest profession to have. I got to pick a name where I can never take myself too seriously, you know?
Right.
And I can
well,
wear
I
a
always
cat
wondered
suit.
how DJs came up with their names because I think it's one of those rules where if you can't give yourself a nickname. So I like that you didn't really come up with it, that they sort of attach to you. You know, because people, when you give yourself a nickname, it's never a good nickname.
Unless it's Ace. I think that's a great nickname to give yourself.
See, I don't know. I guess so. I don't know. To me, it's just, I don't know. All right. Well, that's pretty awesome. I didn't get to the other stuff we want to talk about, but we'll catch up later in the show. But we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we've got Jesse Arroyo here, who, like I said, I'm going to harass about the Charger Stadium.
Yeah.
See you in a bit.
You're listening to Nicksology on ESPN 1700. Brought to you by 619 Vodka, who reminds you to always drink responsibly. Find out more at 619vodka.com.